A cinematography tutorial for beginners should be so good you'll win next year's Oscar, right? Wait, if you really think that you're entitled to that, please hit stop right now. All this video will show you is how to not suck when you're starting out. It's Cinematography Formula 101. If that's what you're looking for, you should listen to the man with glasses talking to you right now. I believe he has some interesting tips to share. Number 1, define your subject. You can't frame what you don't know or see. There's lots to learn about composition. In fact, it's my next video, so please subscribe to see it. It's coming in a few days. For now, just remember to identify who or what you're shooting and ask yourself one simple question. How much of this person should I be seeing at this point of time in the story? Is the head good enough? Or maybe a bit of chest hair, or the whole package? What do you really think the audience wants to see? Then show them that. In other words, make sure all of that is in the frame. Number 2, focus on the subject. Either through the mystical powers of autofocus or the surefire techniques of manual focus, get your subject and his divine vessel sharp. Painters never paint their important subjects out of focus, at least not until the 19th century. They knew what your optician knows today. What is sharp draws attention. What is fuzzy gives you a headache. If you're focusing on the face, focus on the eyes. If you're focusing on the whole body, focus on the eyes. If you're focusing on a tree, then focus on the eyes of the imaginary bird sitting on its branch. There's a great story of Arjuna focusing on a bird, and he tells us what focus is. When everyone else was asked what they saw the bird. But Arjuna only saw the eye of the bird, and the universe ceased to exist. Moral of the story for cinematographers, focus on the eye, even if it's not there, period. Number 3, headroom. Headroom is space above your head. Whether you have a person or tissue paper in the frame, you give it some space above. You can break this rule like every other rule in the book, but to a beginner, you must first follow and understand the rules before you can break them meaningfully. Otherwise, you'll be just breaking it blunderingly. So give some space, but not too much space. Follow Hitchcock's advice. The most important thing should be the biggest in the frame. So if it's a head of a person, then let it fill most of the frame, but leave just an inch or 2 gap above. Don't position them further down unless you want to create the impression they're sinking. Follow this rule for anything: cars, coffee mugs, and cats. Number 4, the rule of thirds. Keep the subject off-center. Your days of imitating Stanley Kubrick and Wes Anderson will come, but not today. Before you begin typing the words of Shakespeare, start by learning the alphabet. That's the idea. The rule of thirds is simple. So simple, cameras have them as reference guides. So use them. Divide the frame into 3 columns and 3 rows, equal in length. The 4 points where the lines intersect are your anchors. Put the most important thing in any one of the 4 anchors. If it's the face, then the eye will fall on the top left or top right anchor. If it's a wider shot, you can anchor something to the lower point. Next, draw a box around the 4 anchors. These are for longer objects. A full person or a telephone pole or rocket is vertical, so will fall on either the left or the right line. A car or log is horizontal, so can fall on the horizontal lines. As simple as that. Typically try to avoid the lower line, so now you just have to deal with 2 points, one horizontal line and either the left or the right vertical line. How do you know you should pick the left or right vertical line? Simple. Pan your camera and look in both directions. Pick the one that has less distracting elements on the opposite side. The rule of thirds is like lined paper, toddlers use to learn the alphabet. With some practice, you won't need the lines anymore, and after a couple of years, you'll turn so cocky you'll start scribbling like a doctor. But don't start out like that, okay? You must earn the right to be illegible. Number 5, exposure. Have you seen my video on what exposure is? Then see it, please. Exposure is not a simple thing, yet it is something you need to do from day one, even when you're starting out. First, don't use auto exposure. Set your shutter to 1/50th of a second and try to keep your ISO as low as possible. Learn to manipulate either the aperture or the ISO for exposure. But as you progress through my Learning Cinematography playlist, you'll see how you can break all the rules and achieve cool effects. And do you see that cool squiggly thing called a histogram? Turn it off forever. Use the in-camera meter. Turn it to spot meter. Point it at the face you're trying to expose. Then follow the simple beginner's rule. For Caucasian skin, it's okay if the face is overexposed by one stop. For brown skin like mine, middle gray is good enough. This means your meter will read 0 or it'll be in the center. For darker skin, half or one stop under is fine. When you point the camera at your subject, tell them, wow, the camera really loves you, and it'll make them more confident. Confidence will make them look good, and that'll make you look good. For complicated subjects where there are too many things in the frame, change your meter to multi or matrix metering or whatever the camera manufacturer calls it. It uses an algorithm to measure the entire scene, and it calculates one exposure. Of course, that's not how the pros do it, but here's the thing. Some pros still miss decent exposure with all the tools they have at their disposal, so you could be a lot worse off. Stick with these two rules for exposure for now. Spot meter for faces and multi-blah blah meter for wide shots. Number 6. Use a slider on a tripod. Why on earth am I asking you to complicate things by adding a slider on a tripod? It's simple, really. If you start out by buying just a tripod, you might never progress onto a slider. So you'll never really begin to learn about camera movement. And if I told you to buy a gimbal so you can dance around like a monkey, then it'll be a long time before you understood the value of a tripod. Sliders are cheap. A 2 or 3 feet slider is more than enough. What you do is move the camera gracefully, no matter what you're shooting. It's okay. It will teach you to focus and pan the camera at the same time. If you're not confident, you can lock it down and not move it at all. But sooner or later, you will get the itch and then start moving. How should you move? Simple. Follow that famous equation you learned in high school. E is equal to mv squared, not c. The energy of the situation or scene decides how fast. If it's a moody scene, we have energy 1. Music video or action or dance is the highest, energy 3. There is no energy 2. When the shot will actually not benefit from any extra energy, comedy is a great example of that, then energy is 0. The speed of the movement is always square of the energy required. In other words, square of energy 1 is still 1, so move real slow for moody scenes. Square of energy 3 is 9, so move faster than you think you need. How do you know when it's fast enough? Just listen to the music if it's a music video. If it's not a music video, download a temp track and use that as a reference. Move to the music. If there's no music, hum something in your head. The most important thing here is to be consistent. If you have moved at a certain speed for one shot, then follow through with it for all the shots in the same scene, or you'll have hell of a time editing it later. And finally, number 7, the spotlight. I don't mean you need a light, because lighting is a whole different thing and you can't take it for granted. But this is more about positioning your subject. Whether it's a face or an object, try to get it more brighter than the background. If it's dark skin tones, or if the object is dark, then try to contrast it with the background. So the spotlight can be light or dark, but the idea is to position your subject in such a way he or she needs to stand out from the background. You need to look around. Don't just put your tripod down in some random spot and start shooting from there. Do a spin. Sometimes the opposite angle is better. You never know if you don't take the extra 3 steps to see for yourself. So do that and make sure when you position the subject, he or she contrasts with the background. Then look at the face. Now here's the thing. If the subject is the most important thing in the frame, and you defined it already, remember? But don't tell me you forgot point number 1 already. The subject is the most important thing, so it stands to reason the audience wants to see it clearly. Good exposure is one way, but still look for shadows. Do you see any ugly shadows on the face? If there are hard shadows, then turn the subject either completely towards the light or completely away from it. You can also try the light at a 45-degree angle and make sure it's a bit from above. Now, what light? You don't have any lights, right? Of course you do. If you're outdoors, it's the sun. If it's indoors, it might be a window or a ceiling light or a monitor or a glass facade. You can always find some light, or at least find an imaginary light. Otherwise, we would all be recording with just a lens cap on. Just make sure the subject has even light on their features so you can see it clearly. We can worry about lighting patterns and other things later. I have a whole lighting guide for faces you could look into. But for now, just keep things even. Fully lit or fully in the shade. That's it. Try these things and perfect them. Think of these as beginner's exercises from which obviously you'll move on to better and greater things. But seriously, if you actually follow these tips, even if you don't know what you're doing, you'll end up with decent video. If you're a purist, then all this might horrify you. You're not afraid to break the rules. You're too good for that. There is some heroism involved in that. If you run along the train track, and a train is heading right at you and you're trying to save a person, it's heroic. So you can do that. But it's the height of stupidity to run in front of the train and expect the train to jump off track for you. Okay, it's not going to happen. Hit the like button and grab some popcorn, because my cinematography playlist for beginners is better than Netflix.
We're gonna get a real good picture now, okay?
Look at him. He's got my eyes.
Got my nose.
And my sympathy.